I'm just making sure. All right, good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
Tired. Good.
Tired? That makes two of us. But we're going to liven it up a little bit, just a little bit, okay? My name is Andre Elliott. I am here on behalf of Sandy Hook Promise. And what I'm going to talk to you today is about, has anyone heard of Sandy Hook Promise first? Okay, we got a couple. For those of you who haven't, Sandy Hook Promise is a program that was founded by a group of family members and loved ones who lost loved ones in a tragic incident that took place at Sandy Hook Elementary School on December 14th, 2012. And the reason that they founded this program was so that no other young person across the United States of America would ever have to experience the loss as they did. And so what I'm gonna bring to you today is a program that can give you the tools necessary to reach out to people, to see someone, and to make a difference in someone's life, okay? And so we have this thing called a community, and we all go to school every day, and we see friends, and we see our family members, and we see the kids in the neighborhood. That's our community. And what we want to do with that community is tighten it up. We want to bring everyone closer together so that we're more connected, so that we become one, because no one wants to be alone. And I always use this analogy. If I took this fist, this hand here, and I told you to take my fingers and try to move them, individually you can take them and move them anywhere you want to. But I'm going to ball this fist up, and I want to ask you, can you help me out? Can you move one of my fingers?
No.
She can't. And the reason that is because together we are a lot stronger than we are when we're apart. Now, I know this slide here says to raise your hand, but I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. But what I do want you to do for a second is to just pause and think to yourself, have you ever felt isolated? Have you ever felt alone? Have you ever felt excluded or left out? How does that feel? What does that look like? How would you feel if you knew that your best friend, your younger brother, your mom, every single day of their life, they felt that same feeling that you just felt? Well, know this, it's extremely common, and millions of people experience this isolated feeling, this feeling of alone and being lonely and excluded. Millions of people every day, every week, every month, annually, on a continual basis, feel like they're excluded and no one cares about them. But we just said that together, we can make a difference. What happens when these people feel this? It can lead to bullying. Bullying can lead to violence. Violence can lead to depression. When a person feels there's no other way out, what may happen? They may hurt themselves. They may hurt others. So what can that lead to? They can start to pull away from society. I don't want to be a part of that group. I don't want to sit with that crowd. They can develop health issues. When a person is depressed, they sit in their room. They don't want to go outside. They don't want to hang with their friends. They don't want to go to the gym. Now we have physical health issues. And these things just continue to pile on. And we continue to develop more issues, social anxieties. We start to fail in school, and the problems just continue to add up. And I know this all sounds like a lot, and it can be daunting on you. It can bring sorrow. But you can make a difference. You can make a difference in your school, in your classroom, in your community, just by following these 3 simple steps that we're going to talk about. And they're very simple. The first step is see someone isolated, and we see with our eyes. We all know that. We learned it in kindergarten. We learned it in preschool. We see something with our eyes. We reach out and we connect to that person. And it's just as simple as starting with hello. And I think the first word that I said to you all when I stepped in here was hello and good morning. So let's talk about step one in further detail. What does it look like to see someone isolated? We all thought about what it may feel like to be isolated. We thought about what it would look like in our own minds. But what are some of the signs and signals? So you may say, Mr. Elliott, I hear what you're saying, and I know I thought about it for a second, but I really don't know exactly what I'm looking for. Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some different signs and signals that you can see, and that'll help you identify when a person is isolated. That person may prefer to be alone. And now there are some people who are introverts. I myself am an introvert. I don't like to be in the in crowd all the time. I want to be by myself sometimes, and that's perfectly normal. We all experience times where we just want to be alone, and that's okay. But what about the person who's alone all the time? Every day in the cafeteria, you see this individual sitting at the table by themselves, back in the corner, and no one pays them any attention. What about the person who's anxious or extremely uncomfortable around people? When they notice a group of people come around them, maybe they get up and they walk away. And this is something that happens all the time. These are some of the signs. So what I want you to do right now for just about 10 seconds is to think to yourself again, have you identified some of these warning signs, some of these signals? Is this something that's going on in your classroom? Is this something that's going on in your community? Where can we find this? Anybody in here on social media? By show of hands. I just recently, as today, I joined Instagram. I've actually been on there for a while, but I never posted a picture. And I did something today, and it really made me feel validated, like someone cared about me. I went to finger licking. Anybody been to finger licking before? That's the chicken place around the corner. I've been to finger licking, and I went there today for lunch, and I had me something that was so good. It was soul food. I said, oh, I got to try some. I need the yams. I need the greens. Give me all of it. And I took a picture of it. I threw it on Instagram this morning, and then right away, I got like 4 or 5 likes on the comments. I said, okay, people looking out. Now, had I put that out there and no one reached out to me, maybe, how would I feel? Could I be isolated? So it can.
You trying to get validation on Instagram? What up?
It could happen. Social media is an outlet, and you can't see it there. Or what about in the classroom? Anybody ride the bus to school ever? Can you see it in the bus? That one individual that's sitting in the back seat by themselves?
Man, that's because they breath stink.
Someone can even feel isolated when they're with a group of people. Now, I know I've played sports in the past, and I've always had a group of people around me, but I don't think my friends ever knew that I was that guy. Even though I was with them all the time, I was still kind of shy and like, I really don't want to talk. I hope they don't say anything to me. And then when they do, I kind of shut down. It's because I was isolated. Even though I was within that group, I felt isolated inside. And that can happen amongst your peers. So now we may have people in here who belong to different groups and organizations and clubs. Think about when you're in those. Think about when you're on the west side with your friends. Is there one person in that group that could be left out? Because if so, we want to do something about it. And what do? Step 2, we reach out and connect. So we talked about step 1 being the sight of someone being isolated. So you see someone isolated. And now that we see someone isolated, we have to do something about it, because I told you before that I needed your help. And you can make a difference today, and it's as simple as reaching out and connecting. But what makes that difficult? If I see someone isolated, why might I not want to? What might they think of me?
That you a buster.
They may think I'm a buster. I don't want to be a buster. That might make it difficult to reach out to someone and connect. So what reasons, and if I have any volunteers in here, can you help me out real quick? What might be a reason? Just give me 2 or 3 people. What might be a reason that someone may not want to reach out and connect? Young lady, can you stand up, please?
It's no time.
It's no time.
Like, if we trying to go to class and then we get tardies, like, I don't have time to stop and talk to somebody who in the hallway. I got to get where I'm going.
Thank you. And what's your name, young lady?
LaShonda.
LaShonda, thank you for sharing, LaShonda. So LaShonda said someone may not have time, and that could be true. Do I have someone else? Can you please stand up for me, lady in the gray shirt?
Maybe they're worried that their friends won't think they're cool if they're talking to someone who's not cool.
And what's your name?
Mary Kay.
Mary Kay. Thank you, Mary Kay. And
I can't hear what they're saying.
Mary Kay said that their friends may think that they're not cool. So it may make her feel socially awkward as well. So those are all valid reasons. But the good news is we're going to give you some tips and some different practices and activities that you and your school can use right now, today, and in the future to make it easier to reach out and connect so that you don't feel like you're not cool, or that you may have a little bit of time in there where you can do this. And it could be something very simple. So I'm going to show you a few of those. What can you do when you see someone isolated and you reach out and connect? You can just simply sit by someone. You may talk to them, you may not, but that person may feel like you notice them. You may validate their being there just because you sat by them. We talked about reaching out on social media, and I told you how it made me feel. How many people in here are on social media? Facebook, Kick, Instagram?
You asked us that question already.
I asked you that? Well, I wanted to make sure that I got everybody involved. You can invite someone to a game. Anybody ever been to a Miami Dolphins game? Do we have any Miami fans in the building? Good, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. So if I go to a Cleveland Browns game, I might invite you to come with me. That's a way to reach out to someone. Giving a simple gesture to someone. So if I don't have time, I can just wave and say, hey, how you doing? I noticed you from across the room. And that's something real simple that we can use. Or even leaving a handwritten note. Something that we don't always do all the time, but something that could be very powerful. Just a simple, hi, have a nice day. Leave it on a sticky note and put it on the locker. They don't even have to acknowledge it, but they may internalize it. So that can still help a person. And what are some things that you can do as a school? Your administrators and teachers, we've talked to them and we've given them resources that they can use right away to help you reach out and connect as a school. No One Eats Alone Day. Now, I work in Youngstown, Ohio at the Mahoney County Juvenile Court, and one day we did this last year in February, and it was pretty awesome because usually in our detention facility, students eat by themselves, they're not allowed to talk. Well, when we heard about this program, we said, well, how can we continue to teach isolation? And that made a difference in our court. So what we did on that day was every staff member went upstairs to the detention facility, students were allowed to talk. We were able to learn about these young people. They were able to learn about their peers just by having a simple conversation over lunch. And now our policies have changed and students talk during lunch on a continual basis. Or what about Hey Day? I see some people in here with name tags, so I do know a few names, but what about when I'm walking down the hall? Where's that student that I see him every day and I just don't know his name? Now, if he has a name tag on, I can say, hey, how you doing, Alex? I like your tie, Alex. And I can start a conversation. And now he doesn't have to feel isolated. He knows that someone is reaching out to him because they care. Or what about a scavenger hunt? And in a scavenger hunt, everyone's done a scavenger hunt when they were younger. At least some of us have. You have these rules and you have these couple things you got to go out and find and everyone's anxious to do it. Well, what about taking a scavenger hunt and being anxious about reaching out to someone that you see isolated and learning about someone in your own school that you didn't know anything about? So real simple, what we would do is we would take a couple note cards or some popsicle sticks and we put a couple things on them about ourselves and we share them with another person. And maybe we do that with 5 different people because we want to get to know 5 different people so that we can validate them and know that they are a part of this closer and connected community that we're trying to build. Or get to know me day when I get to bring something in that tells you something about me. I may wear a Cleveland Browns hat and you're like, ooh, dude, why you like the Browns? And I'm going to tell you because I'm from the east side of Cleveland. And I love the Browns. And so what? We suck. That's my team. But now you know something about me. And then if I see something, oh, you're a Miami Dolphins fan. You lived down here in Miami your whole life? Now we can spark a conversation. Or even mixed grade socials. Now I know usually the seniors like, man, I'm not chilling with those freshmen, man. They fresh meat, they too young, I ain't got time for it. I get that. But on a mixed grade social, maybe you sit down with those freshmen and you talk to them about some of the things that you experience. Or they talk to you about some of the things that they're going through. Now you can help that individual. And you can even feel better about yourself while doing it. I'm going to pass the mic now.